Hamnet is truly one of the most beautiful films of the year. The film, which of course is directed by Chloé Zhao, you have Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley starring in it. We have a film that truly, I believe, will transcend time. It is a film about the importance of art and art as a way to showcase our feelings and how cathartic it can be as well, not just to the artist that creates the art, but also for the audience that goes for the art. And I truly felt moved by this movie in a way I hadn't felt in such a long time. And I love movies. This year I've seen 110. For the past, I would say like 7 years or so, I at least watch 100 films a year now, new releases. And that's always the thing, right? We have our comfort films. And I will tell you, do not let anybody tell you that your comfort film or your favorite film is not a good film. That is your film. It is your special piece of art that brings you some sort of feeling. And if that feeling is something so strong for you, that's amazing. And I want you to keep holding on to that feeling and don't let anybody ever tell you that you are not a true film lover or any of that, because to be honest, there isn't a right or wrong film out there. Here, Hamnet, which is directed by Chloé Zhao, basically revolves around the life of Agnes, played by Jessie Buckley, and William, played by Paul Mescal. And we see as they begin a romance, eventually a family, and then have to deal with the tragedy of losing their youngest boy. And it is a tragedy that is unfolded on the screen in such a visceral and such a tragic way by Chloé Zhao. I always love Chloé Zhao's directing style because she finds a way to really bring you inside of this character. You feel the rage, you feel the confusion, the sadness that these characters feel over the loss of their son, which is so sudden. And grief is such a very heavy topic to even talk about or even portray in media. And it's crazy because grief is something I think pretty much any living thing on the planet goes through. You feel this intense sadness of seeing somebody you love or know just not be no more. And it is such a tremendous feeling of many feelings, to be exact, because I mean, when somebody passes away, these families, the people closest to them, all react in different ways at different times. Some people feel anger at first, some people feel sadness, other people feel confused. And I think the way that Zhao presents the story is so incredibly touching as well. By the end of the film, we finally see how William has sort of taken the loss of his child, a thing that Jessie Buckley's Agnes just couldn't comprehend, and she's rightful in not being able to comprehend because she's taking it in a different manner as well. We see once Hamnet dies that William is very recluse. He goes and is living in a life of solitude. He is just finishing up his next work. He is pretty much detached from his family, and yes, this is indeed bad. It's bad that he would abandon his family as well, but it's also his way of coping with it. Two things can be right at the same time. He was wrong for the way he abandoned Agnes and their time of need. So he needed to do this in order to be able to move forward. We see that this death of Hamnet takes him to such a dark place where he almost is going to take his own life. He decides to put this feeling that is so powerful and overtaking his life and mind to create the tragedy of Hamlet, a story that revolves around grief and trying to seek answers and revenge and all of this, the anger that comes with it. He puts it all here for a play that we eventually see that Agnes will attend because she is angered at the thought of William using the name of their son for his next play. She doesn't fully understand yet what he is doing, and her feelings are valid as well. This is a movie that there is no bad or good character. They are all humans. They have flaws. They have their way of treating things. They aren't this cookie cutter of a movie character that you want to have where it's like, well, yeah, I can root for Agnes because William's a bad guy, or I can root for William because Agnes just didn't understand him. No, we all share these moments that are valid in our life because we all feel differently and take things differently because we're just all different. And she sees everybody has crowded to see the story, of course, of tragedy, but Agnes just can't shake off the thought that her son's name is part of this tragedy and is being used to commercialize this art for William. Unbeknownst to her, as she starts to watch the play, that this play is truly about William coming to terms with what just happened. He even plays the ghost of the father that goes to visit Hamlet, or Hamnet in her eyes. And we hear how much William as this character is truly grieving. He is truly wanting Hamlet, the character, to understand how much he loves and cares for him and how he couldn't be there and can't be there no more. And it just adds so many more layers to this already tragic situation both of these characters in, and you're just there trying not to sob. I'm telling you, I watched this at an early screening, and early screenings, they're packed. The front rows and everything. They make sure that everybody gets in here to watch this movie so they can talk about it. And the amount of times I was holding in the tears throughout this movie, and that final act was just something that was truly pushing me. Like, I wanted to just sob, because Jessie Buckley is such an incredible performer, as well as Paul Mescal. But Jessie really takes it to the next level, because Max Rider's score kicks in The Nature of Daylight. That song, it's always going to get to me ever since Shutter Island, and it just hits you like a gut punch. But then Jessie Buckley extends her hand to hold Hamlet's hand. The actor playing Hamlet, of course, played by Noah Jupe, who is just a phenomenal actor. Like, incredible work was done here. And I just lost it. I couldn't anymore. It was just one of the most beautiful and tender moments I've ever seen on a film. And the way Chloé captures it, it's just on another level, because you see everybody in the audience there reach out their hand to Hamlet as well. They've all been moved. They all feel this. And of course, Jessie Buckley's character of Agnes feels it in a different way, because this is about her son, right? She knows this. But I think the thing here is that anybody in this audience can sort of come out feeling the same way for someone they may have lost as well in their lives. And anybody watching the movie as well. I really felt that, because as we see that Agnes is holding out her hand, it is because this is about Hamnet, and she wishes to hold Hamnet. She sees Hamnet on the stage. This is where Hamnet wanted to be when he grew up. He wanted to be on that stage. And now he will technically be on that stage, because this play is called Hamlet. And Hamnet lives through the art now that his father created in order to process his grief about losing him. Hamnet wanted to play the swordsman on the plays that his father made, and Hamlet is a swordsman. And it is just beautiful to see that through the art. You can even go as far to say that Hamlet's memory will continue to live on as many times that they continue to do this play, which I don't think will ever stop. It's been over 300 plus years, and people still continue to do this play. People still get inspiration for films, for stories from Hamlet. And I think it is just beautiful to see. Now, I know that Hamnet is sort of written in a way where it's not the true story of all of these things, and historians and scholars have said that they're not entirely sure if this is why Shakespeare wrote the play. But nonetheless, I think it is still a beautiful story about the power of art, the power for us to be able to put our feelings down onto a movie, onto a play, onto a musical piece, a painting, a photograph, whatever it is you do as art, a sculpture. It is endless, right? The amount of ways we can create art. It is your own. Nobody will be able to replicate that exact same art that you make, because it comes from inside of you. It is something that you viscerally put out. Even if you say, well, this is just me doing random things, there's something behind the art you're doing. Anything you do, there's something behind it, a feeling, an emotion, a memory, whatever it is. And that's what makes it beautiful. And this moment that we can all come together to appreciate, to talk about art, is what makes everybody human, I feel. And the humanity in Hamnet is just incredible to see. And the more I think about it, the more I talk about this film. I haven't been able really to talk about all of this before. I've been holding it in and just thinking in my head about that ending and what the movie truly meant for me. And it is just always more and more I love this movie. So truly an incredible film. And if you didn't enjoy it, that's totally fine as well. But I do hope you were able to feel or come away with something in the end, and it wasn't just a total waste for you, because there's movies that I do watch as well and I don't really like, but there's something I always bring out of them that I carry on with me. And I think that's the power of art. It doesn't necessarily have to resonate with us, but if it can make us feel or think about something differently, then I think it did its job. On a quick side note, this wasn't really an Any Explained per se, right? It was more me just giving you my thoughts on it. But by the way of the algorithm, I just got to name it that, y'all. So I'm sorry if this wasn't what you were looking for. But I do think that the story that William tells Agnes at the beginning is so incredibly well put, especially with the ending, because it is a story of Orpheus and Eurydice, a old mythological story about trust, about patience, about understanding. Because in the story, Orpheus loses Eurydice and he goes to plead to the underworld to please let him have Eurydice back. And they say on one condition, take her all the way back to the living world, but never look back. Just trust us, bro. So we see that Orpheus eventually does take her back to the living, but just as he's about to make it, the trust is broken as he looks back, and we see he then loses Eurydice. She was always behind him, but he didn't have that trust. And I think that story goes with both William and Agnes. They ultimately were holding each other's hand throughout their journey, but at one point that trust was almost lost, and that trust being lost would have meant they would have lost each other. Unlike the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, they were able to keep that trust and be able to move forward. And I think that that's just an incredible way of looking at the relationships, mainly not just romantic relationships, but friendships, families, and things like that. Once that trust or that disbelief for one another comes through or gets broken, then we ultimately are destined to lose each other forever. And that trust and that love is what keeps us going and going forward. So really, really incredible film. I do think this is worth checking out if you haven't already. And, me telling you about the ending and all of that should not take away from you watching this film. I already knew what was going to happen because, of course, it's a book and the plot line's out there about what this movie is about. So I don't think it takes much from the film knowing what happens to Hamnet. It is truly a film that you just have to feel at your core. Let it just be what it is. Don't try to reason in it. Don't try to think about it too much. Just feel it for what it is and what it's trying to tell you. Whatever comes up in your mind as you're watching this, feel those emotions as well. And I think you'll really enjoy this one. But truly, truly cannot speak highly enough of Hamnet, one of my favorites of the year, and truly one of the best of this last decade. So I'm excited to see how this film performs, and Chloé Zhao is such a special filmmaker for me forever and always. But anyways, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We're on the road to 50,000 subscribers. Let's get to it. I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.